Welcome to this daily guided meditation practice. This is the Attentive Mind. My name is Nathan, and I'll be guiding you through this meditation practice today. Okay. You have found yourself a seated position, preferably sturdy and comfortable, and your eyes are either closed or open. If they are open, your gaze is gently directed downwards, away from the screen. And we can just begin by not beginning, by not doing any special technique. Leave alone all ideas about meditation. We're not clearing our minds. We're not getting into any particular state of mind. In fact, we're not actively doing anything, really. We're not seeking the future whatsoever, nor are we learning anything through knowledge. You are here. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. There's no one to become. Now you may notice that the mind doesn't know how to do this really. It doesn't know how to stop doing. It wants a task. And because we are so accustomed to listening to our thoughts, to listening to the needs of our mind, it's beneficial to give the mind a task, just for some time. And that task would be to simply bring your attention to the coming and going of your breath. Simply watch your breath rise and fall, and see if you can do this without being distracted by this next thought. And I'm probably interrupting you talking to yourself right now. This is okay. It's merely a habit, a mode of being that we have been conditioned to be. We are conditioned to pay attention solely to thinking. So when you notice that you are lost in thought and the breath is lost, just recognize that that's happening. Return to this moment and then return to the breath. And remember, leave alone the idea of this being some sort of special technique, some sort of new thing or some sort of old thing that you've been practicing. Begin again like a newborn child, completely free, completely unknowing. And return to the breath for really no reason at all. In fact, return to the breath without even really knowing how you do it. Just notice the gentle rising and falling rhythm of breathing, and let your thoughts come and go as they please. Come back. Leave the planning alone. Return to the breath. breathing, rising and falling. The mind does not have to be quiet to notice the breath. We recognize breathing as thoughts come and go. Just leave them alone. Let thinking be like the noise outside your window, in the background, but not ignored. Remain with the breath. Begin to become curious about your experience right now. It feels, of course, that you're something that is getting lost in thought, but then returning to the breath. And getting lost in thought, and then returning to the breath. But notice how it feels that all of this is taking place somehow from your head. That you exist above your breath, looking down at it. But then getting lost is like going back to the head. And then you go back down to the breath. See, we feel to be located somehow in the middle of our head, above our shoulders, behind the eyes, looking outwards. Now, there's some real curious shift we can do here. Notice the breath. And while you notice this breath as it goes in and out, notice the looker. Notice this feeling of being separate from the breath and above the breath, looking down. And instead, see if you can just drop that view away. See if you could just simply notice the breath as the breath, as if the breath is noticed from itself. It takes no time to do this, just a gentle shift. Just recognize how you can change this point of view from being in the head to being in the breath. And therefore, this ability to pay attention doesn't take two, some separate observer. So just notice the breath from the breath. And just allow this all to take place, even though it doesn't make sense. And just rest as this awareness itself. Okay, you can look at the screen. You know, there's a very famous Zen story. I laugh every time I bring up Zen stories because I always do, but there's this famous Zen story, and you may have heard of it. So go with me if it's been repeated. But there's this old scholar from a great university, wanted to learn a lot about Zen. So he packed his bags and went to Japan and met the greatest Zen master of all of Japan. Don't worry about the names. And he goes to this Zen master and he says, "Hey, I've been wanting to learn a lot about Zen. I've written papers about the comparison of Christian theology to Zen Buddhism and how they interact in some way. They apophatic versions of both of the religions and how they this idea about Taoism and blah 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 and bringing in and the Zen master sitting there listening to him, and he just keeps explaining how he loves Zen and how he really wants to know from a direct teacher and how Zen could probably help the world and what he should be doing with it and how we can transform other religions into the Zen Buddhist kind of way of looking at things. And the Zen teacher's like, And out of nowhere, as he's talking, the Zen teacher, the Zen master, takes some tea and starts pouring tea for himself, and then starts pouring tea for the scholar, as he continues to tell the Zen master about all his plans about writing papers, making changes, changing the world, becoming better, looking to the future. Just sitting there. And of course, as he's pouring this tea, this small little cup, it starts to overflow. But the Zen master doesn't stop pouring, just keeps it up. And until the tea starts pouring out onto the table, pouring out onto the scholar. And the scholar's like, the cup is full. Surely no more can go in there. And the teacher stopped, set down the tea, and looked at him and said, exactly. You come to me with a full cup. You think you can understand Zen. Empty your cup so you can learn. But there's another meaning to this story. A lot of people take this story as you have too many ideas. You need to unlearn your ideas so you can learn something else called Zen. And the real intention behind this, in my opinion, and from my experience of this story, is that what Zen has to show, what this practice that we are doing here has to show, has nothing to do with knowledge. It's not in the realm of knowing and not knowing. That's a thinker. There's many books written on Zen. And if you ask my teacher's teacher, Sun Sung Sanim, he'll say, throw it. It's all a mistake to say anything. Because you are already free. What you seek is closer than your nose. It's not even close because there's no two. It is. That's why Zen is very careful about saying anything about practice. They just say, sit, don't know mind. Sit, what am I? Now, if you were with me in this practice and you noticed how we were noticing the breath, and then all of a sudden I asked you to not notice the breath from someplace up here, but to just notice the breath right here. Now, if you were noticing that you were able to do this, in that moment, there's no coming, there's no going. There's no past, there's no future. There's no me, there's no you. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no happy, there's no sad, there's no getting better, not getting better. There's just original, clear awareness. So if you're trying to understand this, and maybe if you feel frustrated by the practice, especially when we do things like move our attention around, move our awareness around, it can be confusing. If you're trying to think about it, if you want to tell your friends about it. So let go of understanding. Let go of trying to get it. Because we are so conditioned to learn, we think that that's what this is, and it's not. Practice begins when we stop reaching for knowledge. Thank you for your time today, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow.